Hey Garden of Banban fans! The creator of the famous parody of the original Garden of Banban, Banban Reincarnated, the guy whose name's Mason, has released the trailer of his new game on his YouTube channel Unique Geese. And maybe this will be a new big hit that everyone's gonna love. I noticed some major details that were unexpectedly changed, and even at this point there are things that are not clear. But all in all, I'll expect it to be fun, and you may like it too. So now I'll tell you more about the project. Let's go! In the beginning of the summer, Mason revealed information and the first screenshots of his new high-quality game, which is taking months of development. The game's called Indigo Park. It's gonna be the game like Banban Reincarnated, Joyville and Garden of Banban, but it's just roughly speaking to make sure you get it right. Obviously, it'll be a long way from Banban, and Joyville hadn't existed when this game started being developed. But basically, I expect it to be something similar in the context of an abandoned amusement park, more Joyville-like. And this should be fun, but don't get me wrong. The author has done his due diligence, and the game has its unique features. Since this is a new mascot horror game, we will see new animal-like characters and mascots of the place. Obviously, they're gonna go after us, but the main mascot, Rumbley the raccoon, looks really charming, and he's gonna help us out throughout the entire game. He'll be some sort of an artificial intelligence, or its imitation, embedded in all the possible devices, screens and speakers, which we'll come across as we progress in the game. Will we ever face Rumbley as the final antagonist? So far there's no clue. The trailer gives us a glimpse of the event prior to the incident, and the setting of the park afterward. Before the incident, we watch the speech of the supposed director of the park, and thereafter the suspicious ambience of a half-working and half-destroyed abandoned amusement park. Speaking of the park, according to the author himself, he loved and still loves to visit places like Disneyland, and he's really impressed with the arrangement and layout of these interactive spaces. That's why we can be sure that there will be no empty rooms. The creator used his personal experience to build locations based on real amusement parks, rather than copy-pasting other games. Indigo Park is an entire city with a lot of ruins caused by time and absence of maintenance. By the way, I've gotta tell you something. Yeah, it's a sudden disclaimer in the middle of the video. I'm not gonna praise this project or underestimate it in any way. In this so-called review, I'm just providing the information that I have, and add my own thoughts and speculation every now and then, so if you feel like I'm either praising the game or criticizing it, that's just me. All the real impressions and clarity about the game can appear only after its release, and maybe it'll take to complete the game several times to understand it, like it happens with this kind of games. Let's move on to a brief introduction of the story. The alleged director of the park introduces a wonderful place called Indigo Park, and how it should resonate in the heart of each dreaming American. I'll just provide subtitles so I don't have to read it all over again. Then the speech breaks off and the Indigo Park itself comes into view. And next there are scenes and gameplay pieces of the park where we go according to the plot of the game as an adventurer. In other words, as a stalker who hangs around abandoned buildings. And we'll be exploring this extremely attractive place as well as restoring electricity there. Time has stood still and nature has reclaimed its territory. This phrase is taken from the description of the game, and it seems like it's a reference to the biological nature of the mascots and their survival drive. Remember how Mason Unique Geese talked about his mascots Apilla and Josh in his last project? Apilla was starving and preyed on the stalkers who occasionally came to the building. And Josh, being in an extremely difficult position, just slowly decayed and lost his ability to walk. Perhaps similar things happened to mascots in Indigo Park, although Molly looks pretty fine here. We'll see. Previously, before the release of the trailer, the author hinted at some collectibles that we'll come across in the game and be able to put them in the inventory. And Rumbley will be telling about them somehow. To find them all, you gotta be a little careful. For that reason, I think that Indigo Park will require completing the game more than once, the same way like Banban. Now let's get down to things that concern me. First, I noticed that Mason changed the position of the flashlight in the hand. Why did he do that? I thought it was gonna make it his trademark signature, you know, his unique feature. Did one of his jealous friends tell him to move the flashlight to the right hand? Dude, bring it back, okay? If your protagonist is left-handed, it will stick in the minds of players, and I think it would really become your trademark. On the Steam, however, the flashlight is still in the left hand. It's not too late to fix this. In one of the leaks, my subscribers and I were really confused with the square balls. Everything around is so beautiful and detailed, and suddenly there's a pit with square balls. It just really caught my eye. I mean, everyone saw the leak. And I wonder if it was done on purpose, but I don't understand why. Or maybe it's just the test of a credibility of the positive feedback. Then the balls will probably get better. And I'm also kind of frustrated by the lack of the shown puzzles. They showed us some small mechanism with a lever, and apparently it has to be activated to get into the park. But so far I haven't noticed anything else, which means that we probably shouldn't expect any interesting puzzles in the game, like those wires in Joyville. Indigo Park is basically a new game series like Banban, Joyville, and Poppy Playtime. New mascots have been spotted in the trailer. Have you noticed this dude? His name's Floyd, according to the posture, and it looks like a lion, and it's related to the theater. And we're gonna visit the theater in Chapter 1, and it looks like it's even got some kind of merch. And there are a couple of other mascots from the last teaser. There's some kind of dragon, and I still think that this is a parrot Molly, but it's just his silhouette. And the Molly himself is gonna show up a few times. Apparently Mason made my little wish come true in this game. I mean, to kick some pathetic mascot zombie monster's ass. And that makes me really eager to play it and see what it's like. What if it's just a cutscene? The game's optimization should be great. At least when Mason played it on his streams from time to time, there were no lags and freezes. The game will be free, the release date hasn't been announced yet, but apparently it'll be released very soon. So subscribe and we'll see what Mason managed to create.